All right, good afternoon and welcome to the final video in our 40 video series brought to you by the Smithville Area Chamber of Commerce in partnership with the City of Smithville through the Smithville Public Library. I also want to thank some very generous funding partners, the Institute of Museum and Library Services and the Texas State Library and Archives Commission. Today's speaker is Mary Pretty, who is going to give us a presentation on community programs and resources as they relate to waste management. Mary, I'm going to turn it over to you. Take it away.
Thank you. Once again, thank you very much for your allowing me to come to speak to folks. And today's topic, she said, moving quickly to share her screen with everyone because she is the least technical person ever, is on community programs and resources, as April said, as it relates to waste management. And this program, this presentation was put together by our Austin Resource Recovery, which is our department that handles our waste management services, picking up composting materials, picking up trash, and some other services that I will go over. And we're going to talk, as the title implies, not just about things that work in the community as a whole, is our business community, as well as our citizens of Austin. And so hopefully folks can learn some good practices. And as always, I will please reach out if anybody has any questions or concerns while they're watching this after it's been recorded. Reach out to me personally, and I'd be more than happy to either shed some light on some of the topics we've covered, or put you in contact with somebody that could perhaps help you a little bit more than I could. So let's see, why are we not paging down here? Let's see. There we go. So what we're going to look at today is a little bit of the background of our resource recovery department. You might have heard the term zero waste sort of bandied about recently, and that's we're going to define that term, what it means to the city of Austin and their goals to achieve this moniker. How we're going to get there are through some of our programs and resources, and so give you an overview on those. Some of the specific services that resource recovery offers. Then some other green programs that we have in the city that as they pertain to waste management. And always, if you have any questions or concerns, happy to address those in the form of an email, or anyone attending can put that in the chat and we'll get to those. So Austin Resource Recovery. This is the city department, as I said, that handles our waste management. And about 10 years ago, we went through a renaming. We threw it out to all the citizens, citizens were involved as well, employees and the citizens of Austin, and asked them to come up with a more fitting name for the department, because prior to that it was solid waste services, and that didn't really speak to all the diversity and all the various programs and the ways that this department is working to achieve this zero waste goal and help the community. And so the winning name became Austin Resource Recovery, showing that the city is really moving towards taking materials and finding a way to recover those materials and then repurpose them or recycle them, reuse them, all the reuse you can possibly think of. And so the city of Austin is working to turn waste into a resource and to keep our community clean. Did you know that in the US, we waste approximately 140 million tons of material are put into landfills each year that don't need to be there? This is materials that could be repurposed, could be composted. We'll talk a little bit more about composting later in the presentation. But the U.S. spends approximately $2 billion each year on solid waste management. So obviously, if we can keep some of these materials out of the landfill, we can certainly bring that number down and utilize those funds for other businesses that perhaps in the recycling industry, repurposing industry, or getting these materials to folks that may need them if it's something that can be reused. Landfills are the third largest source of human related methane emissions. And I talked a little bit in the presentation we did on energy conservation about the potential heat trapping capabilities of methane. You know, when you hear folks talk about the environment, they speak a great deal about carbon. We got to get carbon out of the atmosphere. Well, you know, certainly we need to do that, you know, through more conservation measures as far as how we use energy and how we produce energy, be it for buildings or automobiles. But also we need to look at methane because it actually has, you know, far more heat trapping capability than carbon does. So as we're releasing greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, you know, we need to be, you know, concerned with methane because, you know, sadly a little bit goes a long way with regards to trapping heat in the atmosphere. It can also, the materials in our landfill can also leach into our water supply. And there's all kinds of potential health risks that are associated with living in close proximity to landfills. And when I spent a lot of time in area schools, and I always ask the kids, you know, what would you rather have, you know, using this wide open space, a park or a landfill? And it's, you know, except for the smart aleck kid in the back who's always going to, you know, go against what the teacher says. You know, to a person, you want to utilize open space for, you know, for development, for parks, for, you know, homes, for, you know, just things that everybody needs, as opposed to just, you know, piling more trash into an already overtaxed earth. So it's going to have significant economic as well as environmental and health impacts if we can keep materials out of the landfills. And I touched on this a little bit in the energy conservation presentation as well, that, you know, we're now starting to look more holistically, take a more people, planet, profit, or sometimes folks say people, planet, and prosperity. You know, we understand that we need to save the planet. But we also understand that, you know, people need to provide for their families. People need to have homes. People need to have, you know, to be able to purchase food, put clothes on their loved ones' backs. And so it's just trying to find that balance where, you know, we can take what we need, you know, from the earth, but also putting plans and programs in place that we can give back. You know, if you just keep taking and taking and taking, you know, eventually resources are going to run out. So that's something that we're really trying to stress. So what is zero waste? Well, zero waste is diverting at least 90% of waste materials out of the landfills and into other streams where they become valuable resources for the community. And, you know, we understand that at some point, you know, some things just have to go to the landfill. But imagine if we could keep 90% of what's currently going into area landfills out. We can divert those into some other useful materials, be it through, as I said, recycling or repurposing, repackaging. Again, let's all just think and we'll get along fine. But this is something that the city of Austin is hoping to attain by the year 2040. So just a mere, you know, 18 years away. And you're looking at all the benchmarks that we've set and the information that we're getting back. It looks like, you know, we will achieve that, but it's we're sort of running out of low-hanging fruit, so to speak. So now we're really looking at the community and the business leaders at large to help us, you know, make some of those bigger jumps and some of those bigger changes. So the city does have that goal to be zero waste by 2040, and you know, we are well on our way to achieving that. So where do we waste? Well, looking specifically at the city of Austin, the city of Austin's waste stream is approximately 15% residential and 85% commercial and multifamily dwellings. And, you know, that makes sense. You know, certainly Dell is going to have, you know, much more materials in the waste stream than the Johnson family down the street. So this makes sense. But this is why we're looking at everyone, and certainly partnering with the business communities to try to get them to move the needle on some of the actions that they're taking. And we do this report every 5 years, so that's why it says 2015 commercial and multifamily landfill composition findings. Obviously, is something that we would have done in 2020, but given the pandemic, we're running about a year behind. So this is information that we're currently compiling. But in 2015, more than 80% of the material being sent to our landfills could have been reused, recycled, or composted. So, we're trying to hit that 90% goal, and if we just take the materials now that can be reused or recycled or composted out of the stream, we're going to be so close. And we talked a few minutes ago about the economic impacts, and certainly that's something that businesses are looking at. A Texas Commission on Environmental Quality study found that the economic benefit of recycling in Texas exceeded $3.3 billion with a B, $3.3 billion, and supports the employment of over 17,000 people. So again, if we can get these materials out of the landfills, then we can get them in the hands of businesses that can turn them into something new that can be resold. It can really be a big boost for our economy, and then also our job force. As we're needing to turn these materials into other products or goods or services, we're certainly going to need to employ folks to do that. So it can have a big impact on our workforce as well. The recover hierarchy. And what we're asking folks to do is to really sort of move away from disposal being your default setting. That as you're looking at something, always consider the best use for that material. So as you're trying to decide, do I just pitch this in the trash? Do you just ask yourself, what else can this material become? Can it be made into something else? Could this resource be useful for me? Could this resource be useful for someone else? Or could it be useful for the entire community? So that's why we're asking people to, not just go, I'm done with it, into the trash it goes, when we're hopeful that will be the least preferred option, that's the last thing you can do. That if you can't recycle it and you can't find a way to repurpose it, or if it's not a food product or a material that can be composted, that you, as I said, last resort into the landfill. But I mean, there's just so many other things we can do. We can redesign things. We can reduce packaging. We can reuse things. We can repair things. Certainly, given the pandemic, there's some folks that need some help. And perhaps we could donate those materials. We're at community gardens or folks gardening at home. These is something that is becoming quite popular in the area. We can compost. So we can take those materials, and as opposed to putting a week's worth of banana peels, potato peels, and coffee grounds into the landfill, take those materials and compost those. It's something that you can do at your home. And Austin actually has a composting program that we'll go over a little bit more in detail as we get into the presentation. So let's talk a little bit about some of the programs and resources. I'm going to give you an overview of the teams and the programs that support Austin businesses and also residents in turning waste into resource. And what we have is their business outreach team. And it's just a dedicated staff, and they work just specifically with area businesses, trying to determine what's best for that business as it fits into Austin's plan. We understand that if we got a business that has 3 people, certainly what's best for them is not what's best for the Samsungs or the Applied Materials or someone in the hospitality industry. That we understand that it can't be just a one size fits all, that we need to tailor our plans and our resources to help all businesses of all sizes, be they, whether they own their facility or they're renting their facility. There's so many factors that come into play, but we need to tailor those solutions to the size of the business and the size of their workforce. We have a universal recycling ordinance, and that supports both commercial and multifamily properties in reaching the requirements of the universal recycling ordinance. This is something, again, this I was talking about, we have to fit what works with that location with what the city needs in order to achieve their goals. So, sitting down and working on plans and getting those plans submitted to our waste management services so that we can review those plans and make sure that folks have the resources that they need to implement those. Education, it's the key to everything. We can't just stand here as a city and say, well, be greener, recycle more. Good luck with that, Bill. We have to give you the tools in order to do that and be successful. So we offer ways that we can, train citizens and also go out and train businesses. We'll show some more of it a little bit later in the presentation, but signage is it just simplifies everything. If you're holding an apple core in your hand, like there's got to be something I can do with this. And if you can, look on the signage that folks are able just to download for free and put up in their businesses or schools or homes, it really helps. And we also work with area businesses on construction and demolition ordinances, something that we review every couple of years just to make sure there aren't any changes that we need to implement. But making sure that as businesses come down or folks are doing renovations, that we can responsibly and resourcefully take care of those materials. Is it something that we could maybe repurpose back into the facility, or could we, donate it to Habitat for Humanity or some other organization that could really use those resources? This is what I was talking about, the signage. It's just something that we thought, this will be helpful. We'll put that out there, and we put it out actually in English and Spanish as well. And just to see the ticker roll on the number of people that are actually downloading this signage and putting up in their business and homes and schools is makes you think that it's working. It kind of gives you a little bit of hope, because one of the people like to do people watching. One of my favorite things to do is to go to the Austin Convention Center, and they have the large receptacles that you can either recycle, you can either compost or put materials in the landfill. And I actually almost feel sorry for people because they'll stand there with something and you can almost see the smoke coming out of their ears. And they're like, oh my gosh, where do I put this? Where do I put this? And they'll drop it in one and they'll kind of slink away like they've, broken a major law. And that's on us. That's on the city for not providing, or getting the message out to them, the educational needs so people can feel comfortable and confident when they're, throwing materials away. So, we have this signage up all over the city, and it's helped immensely. We have our circular economy program, and the circular economy program is a partnership of city staff from both Austin Resource Recovery and our economic development department. And what their aim is to make Austin the most vibrant circular economy in the United States. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to offer resources, consulting, and event opportunities to both businesses as well as residents that grow that local circular economy. And in just a second, I'll give you a diagram of what we mean by circular economy. Look, there it is. And in all of its simplicity, as it is now, we're trying to move away from the linear economy. You're done with something, right into the trash it goes. It's a one use, haul it off to the landfill. This is what we are trying to get away from. And as we find, usually things move better in baby steps. If you're going to start a health program, nobody's going to go, well, starting tomorrow, I'm going to get up, I'm going to jog 5 miles a day and only eat a radish. No, you're not. You might for a day or two, but you're going to fall off that wagon. And so that's why, sort of moved a little bit towards a recycling economy. These are things that, we businesses and citizens, had used. Now we can recycle those, they can go out, we can use it for other purposes. But typically that only has, it can only be used a certain number of times. So you can only, recycle an aluminum can 7 times. It's not something that you can use, infinitely. So sort of moved into the recycling phase, the recycling economy. Now we're into the circular economy is the big push. And that's just putting materials in that can be repurposed or recycled or reused over and over and over. So there's really no break in the action. And, things hopefully, and in theory, never end up in our area landfills. And no, I did not do the drawing if anyone's asking. So one thing we do with our circular economy is we just give businesses an opportunity to talk to one another. It's amazing to see, businesses that have 2 or 3 people standing in the room with the larger businesses and, watching them exchange ideas. Because a lot of times some of those smaller businesses, I mean, they're more concerned with funds, with their bottom line. So they have to, take a more bare bones approach. And a lot of times they have some of the best ideas. And so, watching them share those ideas and watching some of the larger businesses implement them on a larger scale is really kind of interesting, fun to watch. Reverse pitch event. This is something that Resource Recovery we invite area entrepreneurs. It's a competition that we have once a year, and we had asked them to come up with unique ways to repurpose or reuse those materials, in a business setting. And we have a panel of judges from not just our Resource Recovery department. I've sat in on a few sessions. And we bring the entrepreneurs in. They let us know. I guess like Shark Tank. There I've said it. We kind of ripped off Shark Tank. There I said it. But on the waste management side, and so we look at these ideas and provide them with grant money so that they can those that are chosen can maybe take their business to fruition and watch it grow. And the big thing is just to be available. I think that a lot of times folks are afraid of the city, and we're there for folks to use and abuse. And so we like to set up one-on-ones or just visits with businesses, and just hear some of their concerns, some of their complaints, and try to address those. Try to stave off any misinformation before it can fester and maybe cause some problems in the business. So I think the biggest thing that we really try to do is just be accessible to our businesses. Because as I've said many times during these presentations, we can't stand up here as the city and tell you what, this is a goal that we're trying to achieve, and you have to help us, but not give you the resources to do that. That's just wrong. So what do we offer businesses? Well, we highlight awesome businesses that are on board with the circular economy to share a story map of their businesses and their relations to other businesses in the Austin circular economy. So it's just a way to share. Again, maybe if they can't attend the in-person meetings, they're able to share that way through the story map. We have an online marketplace that connects businesses and organizations with one another so they can, reuse and repurpose materials. This is something that comes in very handy at the end of school years, as teachers are going through and they're clearing out, their classrooms with an abundance of crayons and markers and pens. There's a place that they can take them. And then, the beauty of that is at the beginning of the next school year, they can go back and, and take a look and see if there's any materials or goods that they could use, for the upcoming school year. So it's sort of a barter situation. And then one thing we try to do is study one waste material every year to really understand what's being wasted and why. So we'll pick like shrink wrapping or certainly styrofoam, is a concern, and then find out, how we can can get this materials out of the landfill systems, and then how we can make that help our local economy. Is it something that we can help use for packaging materials that we as a city can find a vendor for, or is it something that we can melt down and utilize in city facility operations? So it's just trying to find that, looking at one material that is causing a lot of issues with the landfill system, and finding a way to get it out, and then also have it boost our local economy. So we've talked about what we can offer our businesses. What can we offer our residents? And one thing we like to do is we have folks can go to the Shopping Zero Waste website, and we can let them know some tips and places where they can go if they're looking to shop, to zero shop, maybe find repurposed materials, or where they can go for things that have been donated. And obviously the downside to this is you don't know what you're going to get, you don't know what's going to be donated, but if it's something that folks keep checking back, and the old adage of what was once one man's trash is another man's treasure is certainly applicable here at our zero waste store. We host fix-it clinics, teaching Austinites how to repair household items and other useful skills. If a problem with a bike tire, maybe you don't know how to repair that, but instead of the added expense of going out and purchasing a new one, and then what do you do with this bike tire? We can show you how to fix that. We've got partnerships with local nonprofit that teaches writing classes to young people in the area, and so they'll come out and host these. Simple sewing. I can sit here and tell you that I had to take one of those. I mean, how do you put a button on? We can teach you that, as opposed to throwing a shirt out, or how to dye clothing. It seems really simple, but as I've said before, if one person does it, you think, not going to move the needle much. But if we can get this mindset in all of our citizens, and now suddenly the almost 1 million people that live in the Austin area start taking up these practices, it's going to have a big impact. Next up is Move Out ATX, and that's a community effort that connects students with local reuse organizations. So the West Campus of the University of Texas, obviously, that's sort of the hot spot. And so as students are moving out, and then now, if they get the information soon enough as they're moving in, they can help with this organization, and they can come pick up materials, as opposed to just putting a desk out by the road with a please take me sign. They can make arrangements through Move Out ATX to come pick up those materials, and we can get them to the agencies that they're needed. And then finally, we got the Austin Reuse Directory. And that's just a tool to help Austinites find places to either donate or sell used household goods to local reuse organizations. If you get something you don't need anymore, but it's still functional, just let this give this directory a call, and depending upon what the item is, whether it's something that could either be donated or in some instances they do offer some money, not a lot. I'll be very upfront about that, but you can get sort of get a little money back on some of these. And again, it's so much better than throwing it out into the yard, hoping somebody comes and gets it, and it's repurposed quickly, and isn't ruined in the rain or the blazing Texas sun, and it can actually be reused or repurposed. So the other programs that we offer for our citizens are zero waste block leaders, and these are just, as the name implies, folks that have a little pride in their neighborhood. Not that we don't all have pride in our neighborhood, but they work to put signage up, or to arrange get-togethers in their neighborhood about things are coming. Maybe do a clothes swap. We've had some do. It's just just sort of keeping the lines of communications open. And if you have any questions regarding this, you've got this assigned block leader that if they can't answer your questions, then they can certainly put you in contact with the city agency or city employee that can assist you. We've got a home rebate program. Again, keep harping on education. We've got to give citizens the tools to be successful. And folks can take a free class and receive a $75 rebate if they want to compost at home. They can take that $75 and apply it towards, an outdoor composting bin, or maybe something that they're going to utilize inside the home to collect their composting scraps. Chicken coops. A lot of folks, are looking to add chickens to their community gardens, to their backyards, to have the eggs, and then also the we'll just say fertilizing capability. And so this is something that folks are interested in. Again, we'll have that free class to teach you how to properly care for chickens in the city, and then also provide you with that rebate so that you can get a head start on building a chicken coop or purchasing one if you would like to get one that has already been put together. We got the brownfields projects, and that's just identifying environmentally distressed sites throughout the city, and then working with local businesses and then also residents in the area to build those up so they can be used for some type of mixed use development. So what are some of the Austin Resource Recovery Services? They wanted me to tell you that they provide excellent customer service and are recovering your community's resources. One thing that we've done is made pay as you throw. And what that is that just, if you've got 6 kids at home, you're going to have far more materials going out to be picked up by resource recovery than say, the sweet little old lady that lives down the street by herself. So, what we've done is you can decide what size of receptacle that you want, and you're charged accordingly for that. And, if you start with the biggest and find out that it's not something that you're going to need, return that one, and then, we'll go with the next smaller size. So that's something that's really safe, especially, like I said, some of the smaller households with smaller number of people, then also those on a fixed income. You're not paying a great deal for your trash to be taken away, and you're only filling up a quarter of the container. We have brush and bulk collection, or as my significant other likes to say, this is dumpster diving time. Get such a gleam in their eye just driving around town in a pickup truck, as people are putting out old desks or old chairs or old whatevers. Invariably we're going to pick those up and we're going to fix them. Please don't look in our garage. We don't have many of them fixed, but this is something for folks that can't get out, that want to donate some of these materials, but maybe don't have a truck, maybe physically they're not able to. So on these, once every 6 months, you can put them out, and then our resource recovery vehicles will come by, pick those up, and get those to agencies that will make the determination if they can be repurposed, can they be repaired, can they be donated, and sort of take that worry off of resident shoulders. And we've also partnered with Goodwill of Central Texas to offer free on-call contactless collection curbside service for unwanted clothing, shoes, toys, linens, and things of that nature. So as you're moving, or if you're redoing your bedroom, you've lost weight, so you have a new wardrobe. You can contact our resource recovery. They'll be in contact with someone with Goodwill, and they'll come pick up those materials. You can just leave them out in a bag, So obviously with some concerns with the pandemic, it's all completely contactless. Some citywide essential services. All City of Austin residents do pay a monthly clean community fee for services that keep Austin clean and enhance the livability of neighborhoods, and also in the downtown area. We do street sweep our residential streets 6 times a year. and some of the higher traffic areas at least once a month. Sadly, makes me sad every time they put this one in here. They do have an animal collection. If one of our little creatures has met its demise, they'll just give them a call and they'll come take care of that for you. One of my favorite things to talk about is our drop-off center. We've got some of those things that are difficult for folks to get rid of, or that are just hazardous to get rid of. If you have glass cleaner, you throw that bottle in your trash and it's taken off to the landfill. So you've got those plastics, you've got those harmful chemicals from the glass cleaner, leaching out into the water supply. You can take those to one of our hard to drop off recycling locations, and they will responsibly recycle those for you. Our household hazardous waste is the same. You can drop off. We have paints, you can do tires, batteries, light bulbs, some of those things that you just don't know where to go, and this will keep them from ending up in our area landfills. And the beauty of the household hazardous waste site is that they take these materials and they're processed and they were given to our reuse store. And so citizens can come by and get free mulch, they can get free paints. I think I spoke on the paint earlier in the presentation. You can't really, the downside is if you're like, well, I want, mauve number 24, we can't guarantee that. There's going to be like a blue shade, there's a tan shade, and sort of a green shade, and but we can give you enough free paint to paint your house. It's something that I utilize a great deal. I do a lot of animal rescue work and volunteer at animal shelters, and so this is paint that we can use to repaint dog houses, dog shelters, things like that. So sometimes they have crushed glass. I know this is something that citizens like to use for xeriscaping their yards. So there's that is pretty popular. So that does go pretty fast, but just trying to find a way to utilize all these materials that citizens have to put them back into our community so that we can all live a little greener. Our policy and community engagement, and as I said earlier, we really need the help of all businesses, of all citizens, if we're going to achieve our zero waste goal at 2040. And then also just the city as a whole has a goal of being carbon neutral by 2040. And this is certainly going to help us achieve that goal as well. And so we're just looking to help with policy development, if businesses or community organizations have pilot programs helping to give them the funding so they can see if those are going to be successful. We've got feedback events, as I've been harping on throughout this entire presentation, education classes and youth activities. I think people with children understand that they get this. Whenever I get depressed in my job, I go do a presentation at a school, or I go to an after school program or something with children, because they just understand it. My poor generation, we want to do the right thing, but it's not ingrained in us. We didn't grow up knowing that you have to recycle, you have to conserve energy. I grew up at a time where you recycled paper because you were doing a drive for the local animal shelter, or the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts were doing it. Or, my idea of recycling was taking yes, I'm that old, my soda bottle back to get a nickel. It was more monetary than environmental, but kids get it. And I think so making sure that we have, the youth engaged in some of these activities, so that they're great teachers, they're great mouths to go home and spread the word to their parents. So I said, if we can just get to the kids, I think we're going to be okay. And certainly marketing and PR is very important to this, letting people know that we have these services, that we have these classes. And there are some perhaps some downsides to social media, but there are also some very positive things with regards to getting messaging out on a specific topic, or just trying to get the word out if somebody is in need. And so we certainly utilize both our digital and our social media capabilities. Some of our other programs, we have actually managed this program. It's called the Austin Green Business Leaders, and it's a free program, and it's a voluntary program. And what we have businesses do are fill out a scorecard. There's 7 separate categories. You have to be doing at least one activity in each of the 7 categories. And then based on your point total, you're either a silver, gold, or platinum member. And what this, and as I said, this is just a recognition program. We're not gonna, show up at your doorstep and go, hey, it says you're doing this, and then, take a look around and find out you're not, and then kick you out of the program. No, we're those that are doing green things. We want to help promote your business. Obviously, as a city entity, as a municipality, we can't go, hey, shop at Joe's. But what we can do is, we work in partnership with an area organization called Austin Commons, and we house a green business leader directory. So if people are looking for goods and services, we can direct them to the green business directory. So if they're looking for, a house painter, or they're having family coming in, they would like to stay at an area hotel that that sustainability measures are important to, we can direct them to that directory, and they can make their own choice. We put the businesses' logos and websites on the city website, and we feature them in networking opportunities. We once a year do an award ceremony that our mayor comes, and he's able to, and the businesses are able to meet with him. And as I said earlier, it doesn't matter the size. I mean, we've got businesses in this program that is Nick sitting at his coffee table, doing real estate, up to the Dells and the Samsungs and the Applied Materials of the world. So if you're green and you're able to do at least one of the 7 points in these categories, you can be a green business leader. Our Austin Energy Green Building Program. This is a program that's actually been around. When I tell people this, it surprises them. This has been around since the 1980s. I think that a lot of times people think that sustainability is sort of a new thing. It's an Al Gore new thing, and this is something that Austin's been doing, in the surrounding areas for years. And this program provides sustainable, healthy solutions for businesses and homeowners as far as development's concerned. I mean, they look at everything from how your building is going to impact water supply, how the lighting on your building is going to impact the migration of birds or insects. It looks at how wildlife's impacted, how neighbors, traffic. It just takes a look at everything, and it's really comprehensive program. I said just recently celebrated their 30th anniversary. And Grow Green is a program through our Watershed Protection Department. And it's just, helping businesses and citizens that want to do landscaping in their yard, to put in the proper plants, plants that are native to this area. So they're going to thrive and look good, but they're also going to use less water and be better for the environment. And we also can provide rebates for some of those services and some of those materials if you're looking to redo your yard. And that's it. Not exactly sure why they put not sure best general contact, but as with all of the presentations that the City of Austin has given, if you have any concerns, any questions, please reach out to me directly. And you can do that at Mary, M-A-R-Y .Priddy, spelled P-R-I-D-D-Y, at austintexas.gov. And I appreciated your attention to this, and really applaud your efforts to be greener. And please, if there's anything that I can do to help, do not hesitate to reach out to me directly. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mary. A bunch of very valuable information, and the idea that Austin is working so hard to be green, the zero waste incentives and initiative, I really appreciate those. And for the Smithville residents and or Smithville businesses, I will encourage them to seek out information, because there are many programs that Smithville does, the city of Smithville does, the Smithville Recycling Center for one. We also share a hazardous waste center with a couple surrounding counties. And we do have household hazardous waste drop-offs, and we do have a reuse center with paints especially. So if you want more information, I would definitely encourage everybody to either contact City Hall, but you can also contact the Smithville Public Library. And April, I may be overstepping my bounds, but I think the chamber will provide that information as well. So
Yes, of course, absolutely. Thank you, Judy. Absolutely. And
Yeah,
Mary, I just want to thank you
impressed.
for the many amazing, the three amazing presentations that you've given. I, for one, have learned many, many things about all of the green energy initiatives that are going on in our region. And I really appreciate you taking the time to present these to the Smithville area. We really appreciate that.
No, it's absolutely been my pleasure, and I've been very impressed. I've been looking at your websites and talking to some of your some folks as I've been putting some of this information together, and you guys are just knocking it out of the park too. So as Smithville residents, lean on these people. They've got the information and the resources, and they're doing some amazing work. So thank you very much, personally and professionally.
Of course. Thank you, Mary. And I will say, and I'm going to ask Judy to say as well, we're very excited to be wrapping up our 40 video project. Judy, what say you?
I can't believe we did it. Actually, I can. You guys at the chamber are amazing. But this has been an incredible series. We've covered a lot of topics and provided a lot of information for our businesses, our organizations, and our individual households. And Mary, the stuff that you've presented over the last few have been incredible as well. And I can't thank the chamber enough for helping us do this. And the two main funders, the Institute for Museum and Library Services through the Texas State Library and Archives Commission. It's been an amazing, it was a CARES response grant, a COVID response grant rather, through CARES. And it has provided some very valuable information to help a lot of businesses get through what we're still experiencing after 18 months. So thank you all very much. Kudos to the chamber for pulling this off. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Judy. And I'll right back at you. I appreciate the great partnerships we always have with the Smithville Public Library. So on behalf again of the Smithville Chamber of Commerce and the Smithville Public Library and the City of Smithville and everybody that's been working hard, and Mary, again, thank you. We are signing off on our 40th video. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.